Life inevitably throws curveballs: illness, tragedy, disaster, uncertainty about the future, fear for ourselves and our loved ones. These periods can leave us feeling depleted, especially for those who value the well-being of all living creatures, their pursuit of happiness, and the avoidance of suffering. Humanity possesses an incredible capacity for adaptation and survival, but even the most resilient body and mind have their limits. In our daily lives, we often rely on coping mechanisms to maintain balance and move forward. These might include hobbies, socializing with friends, exercising, or simply indulging in small pleasures that lift our spirits. But what happens when these familiar methods lose their effectiveness? At such times, it may be worth exploring deeper, more fundamental approaches, delving into the very essence of reality. The reality is that the world we inhabit is far from perfect. We become accustomed to its imperfections and often fail to notice the extent to which it is riddled with disease, limitations, discomfort, and danger. Resources are finite, our bodies constantly demand sustenance, and natural disasters serve as stark reminders of our fragility. And of course, we must not forget the other people around us, who can be both the greatest source of good and a potential threat, depending on their intentions and circumstances. Human existence is woven from contradictions and complexities. If we embrace the concept of finite existence, or simply consider it as one possible perspective, a rather bleak picture emerges of a world populated by imperfect beings. It is a realm for those who have attained neither the heights of virtue nor the depths of depravity. Exceptions certainly exist, extraordinary villains and saints, but their presence here is fleeting, as if they do not truly belong. Buddha spoke of the rarity of two types of people: those who take the initiative to help others and those who are capable of sincere gratitude. One might protest, aren't there plenty of good people around? Indeed, they exist, like gold hidden within the earth, but if all the gold were gathered together, it would still represent only a tiny fraction of the earth's total mass. Similarly, good people are a valuable but scarce resource. We should cherish those who support us, stand by us in times of need, and offer assistance. Particularly valuable are those who remain kind and responsive, regardless of circumstances, time, mood, or energy levels. It is easy to be benevolent in times of prosperity, when health, wealth, and comfort are not threatened. But when faced with life's challenges, less attractive character traits often surface. This realization makes us appreciate acts of kindness all the more. The majority of people fall somewhere in between. They perform good deeds one day and bad deeds the next. Some propel the world forward, while others hinder and distort it. The result is progress, but with constant setbacks. We cannot deny that there is progress. Despite all the challenges, modern life offers us living conditions that are incomparable to those of past eras. Even the tumultuous 20th century pales in comparison to the comfort and opportunities available today. And what of the Middle Ages, or Antiquity, where daily life was fraught with hardships and dangers that are difficult for the modern mind to even comprehend? Progress is driven by the tireless work and innovation of a certain segment of humanity, those who, despite obstacles, propel civilization forward. It is thanks to their efforts that we take those 2 steps forward that push humanity to new heights. The very nature of reality is such that it cannot fully satisfy our needs and desires. Buddha said, "All conditioned things are unsatisfactory," emphasizing the impermanence and instability of the world. However, this should not lead to despair. On the contrary, recognizing this fact allows us to accept reality as it is and find inner peace. Denial only breeds tension and struggle, while ignorance leads to carelessness and recklessness. Acceptance of the world's imperfections, on the other hand, brings relaxation and a calm composure. It is in this state of harmony and balance that we are able to take the most effective actions, making appropriate, skillful, intelligent, and timely steps to improve our own lives and the lives of those around us. Can a broken, anxious, sad, and depressed person be of much use? How effective will they be in their endeavors? Obviously, not very. When unexpected events occur, an unprepared person panics and despairs, exclaiming, "How can this be? It's never happened before." And here we go again. A calm and collected person can adequately assess a situation and make a balanced decision. According to the teachings of Buddha, an ordinary, unenlightened person, when faced with physical pain, succumbs to a torrent of negative emotions. They are overcome by sadness, grief, and despair. They indulge in weeping, torment themselves, and lose their reason, experiencing suffering on both a physical and mental level. It is important to realize that pain is an objective reality, a bodily sensation that cannot be argued with. Failures, losses, too much or too little of something, all of this is undoubtedly a source of negative experiences. However, a person who has not undergone spiritual training is unable to see the underlying patterns at the heart of what is happening and does not understand cause and effect. Only when looking back, analyzing the past, does it sometimes become clear that many events were predetermined by a chain of specific causes, often the result of a complex interplay of factors. Moreover, there were often people who tried to warn of impending danger, but their voices went unheard. In the 21st century, immersed in an atmosphere of prosperity generated by the era of overproduction that has gripped certain sections of the planet's population, humanity tends to ignore pressing problems, preferring to spend time on fruitless arguments and discussions of social constructs erected on the shaky foundations of other social constructs. For many years, humanity has shown remarkable indifference to the looming environmental catastrophe, a problem that has not gone away and continues to unfold before our very eyes. Like ostriches, we have buried our heads in the sand, unwilling to see the danger of mass diseases, which in the past affected huge proportions of the population, sometimes up to a third of the total. We have turned a blind eye to the monstrous amount of weapons stockpiled on the planet, weapons capable of destroying all life. We have ignored the blatant social inequality, where a tiny group of people own almost all the wealth in the world, while millions struggle to survive. All of this is not isolated incidents, but deep structural problems, from which, as an inevitable consequence, tragic events flow. To achieve real improvements, it is necessary to eradicate the causes, not fight the symptoms. A wise person, with a clear understanding of cause and effect, is able to correctly assess the consequences of their actions and understand the true meaning of what is happening. It is dangerous to ignore these fundamental problems because evil in the world is real and has not disappeared. Ignorant people, blinded by their delusions, are capable of terrible deeds. However, giving in to panic, falling into despair, and inconsolably weeping over what has happened, is happening and will happen, is a path to exhaustion. It destroys the body and spirit, turning a person into a useless source of suffering, depriving them of the opportunity to contribute to progress. The great Buddha once remarked that sorrow and grief bring no benefit to the sufferer, but only aggravate their torment. This is by no means a call to inaction, because if sensible and kind-hearted people withdraw from active participation in life, the world will quickly plunge into chaos and darkness. It is not about passivity, but about an active striving for self-improvement and improvement of the world around us, requiring conscious and purposeful efforts. Doing good, helping others, doing everything possible to improve life. This is certainly commendable and beneficial. However, it is important to act wisely, in a timely manner, attentively, guided by good intentions towards oneself and others. Endless lamentations about the imperfections of the world and one's own troubles are unlikely to be of any use, because crying over spilt milk won't help. As Buddha said, not in tears, not in sorrow will anyone find peace. No, from sadness only suffering increases and the body weakens. The world is spinning at a frenetic pace, as if cyclones are swirling a whirlpool of events, which sometimes escalate into real hurricanes. But just as a blade of grass bends in the wind but does not break, so a wise person shows resilience and flexibility in the face of life's adversities. Events happen, but by perceiving them in accordance with reality, they maintain inner harmony and do not allow them to be broken. Therefore, one should not give in to despair and despondency, but rely on the inner strength that cannot be destroyed. It is this strength that will help to withstand any trials and maintain faith in a better future. Finding true refuge is possible in reality itself. in the ability to perceive the world in its true form. Even in moments when one's gaze falls into the abyss of despair, when sorrow tries to take over the soul, a person is able to maintain their resilience and not succumb to destruction. It is important to remember the fundamental property of reality, its instability and impermanence. This isn't just an abstract philosophical concept, existing only on the pages of books or in the imagination, but an undeniable fact closely linked to each of us. Impermanence permeates not only the objects and phenomena of everyday life that surround us, but also global structures, as well as our own minds and bodies. Everything is in constant motion and transformation. Buddha, seeking to explain this dynamic, declared, "Impermanent are all compounded things." This brief but profound phrase encapsulates the essence. Everything that consists of parts is inevitably subject to change and decay. Try to find something that does not have constituent parts. Even when matter is divided into atoms, even smaller components are found within them. The importance of this principle is so great that Buddha's last words before passing away were, "All conditioned things are subject to decay. Strive on with diligence." Therefore, seeing the world in its true light, recognizing its continuous change, and relying on inner strength, one gains the ability to constantly improve oneself and the world around them, each to the best of their ability. It is important to do this without allowing emotional burnout, but also without resting on one's laurels.